I'm sitting behind the wheel of the Rolls Royce Cullinan 2025, and the first feeling that takes over is silence, not the empty kind but the powerful controlled silence that feels like the world has been politely asked to step back for a moment while something important happens. The door closes with that soft heavy certainty, and it feels less like shutting a car door and more like sealing a private room away from noise, stress and rush. Everything inside feels deliberate, from the temperature to the scent to the way the leather welcomes you instead of merely supporting you. It becomes clear very quickly that this is not an SUV that wants to impress you with numbers alone, because it wants to convince you emotionally that you've arrived at a level where effort no longer shows and luxury no longer needs to shout. As the Cullinan begins to move, there is no dramatic surge, no sudden roar, because Rolls-Royce believes true power does not announce itself. The V12 engine exists beneath the long elegant hood like a calm giant, breathing slowly and confidently, and when you press the accelerator it responds with grace rather than aggression. You feel the motion not as force but as momentum, like being carried forward by an invisible wave. The road disappears underneath you and imperfections fade away as if the car is gently editing reality in real time. I'm thinking they're not just driving, they're gliding, and it becomes impossible not to relax into the experience because the Cullinan seems to understand your mood before you do. The 2025 Cullinan refines what was already considered one of the most luxurious SUVs ever built, and it does so in a way that feels respectful to its heritage while being fully aware of modern expectations. Rolls-Royce has never chased trends, and here it proves once again that timeless design always outlives fashion. The exterior still carries that unmistakable upright confidence, with the Pantheon grille standing proudly at the front like a signature rather than a statement. The spirit of ecstasy glides ahead, guiding the way, and even when the car is standing still it feels like it's in motion because every line flows naturally into the next without tension or clutter. Walking around the Cullinan you notice how proportions are handled with mastery, because despite its size it never feels bulky or overdone. The surfaces are smooth and refined, the edges softened just enough to feel welcoming, and the details are precise in a way that suggests patience rather than haste. The wheels sit confidently under the arches, giving it presence without aggression, and the lighting elements are subtle yet unmistakable, especially at night when the Cullinan doesn't dominate the road but calmly owns it. It becomes obvious they designed this car to be admired quietly, not photographed loudly. Inside the cabin is where the Cullinan truly separates itself from everything else on the road, and even from many luxury vehicles that try to compete in the same space. Stepping inside feels like entering a carefully curated environment rather than a machine. The leather is not just soft, it feels alive, warm and deeply textured, as if it has memory and character. The wood veneers are not decorative pieces glued into place but handcrafted artworks, each grain selected and matched with care. I'm thinking if we're talking about craftsmanship, then this is where the conversation ends, because nothing here feels mass-produced or rushed. The seats in the 2025 Cullinan are more like individual lounges designed to support the body naturally over long journeys. They don't force you into a position, they adapt to you, and after a few minutes you forget about posture entirely because comfort becomes effortless. The rear seats especially feel like a private jet cabin on wheels, with generous legroom, adjustable recline, and an atmosphere that encourages calm conversation or complete silence depending on the mood. It becomes clear they built this car for people who value time, peace and presence more than speed or spectacle. The Starlight headliner remains one of the most emotional features Rolls-Royce offers, and in the Cullinan 2025 it feels even more refined. As night falls, the tiny fiber optic stars illuminate above you, creating a sense of calm wonder that subtly changes the energy inside the cabin. It doesn't distract, it soothes, and it reminds you that luxury can be poetic rather than overwhelming. I'm realizing that this is not about showing others what you own but about reminding yourself why you chose it in the first place. Technology in the Cullinan is present but never intrusive, which is a philosophy many brands claim but few truly achieve. The digital displays are clear and elegant, blending seamlessly with the traditional design language. The infotainment system responds smoothly, offering navigation, entertainment, and vehicle settings without unnecessary complexity. Everything works intuitively and quietly because the goal here is to reduce friction, not create engagement for its own sake. If we're honest, this is technology designed to disappear into the background, which in this context becomes the highest compliment. The sound system in the Cullinan 2025 deserves special attention because it transforms music into an experience rather than a feature. When you play a track, the cabin becomes a concert hall where every note feels precisely placed and naturally balanced. The isolation is so effective that even at higher volumes the outside world remains distant and irrelevant. I'm thinking they didn't design this system to impress with bass or volume but to recreate emotion and depth, and it becomes addictive in a subtle, refined way. Driving the Cullinan through city streets feels almost surreal because the vehicle seems to float above traffic chaos. Steering is light yet confident, allowing you to maneuver a large SUV with ease and precision. The suspension constantly reads the road ahead, adjusting in real time to maintain that signature Rolls Royce ride quality. Speed bumps, potholes and uneven surfaces lose their identity under the Cullinan's wheels, as if the car is politely smoothing the road before you arrive. It becomes clear they didn't just engineer comfort, they engineered serenity. On the highway, the Cullinan settles into a relaxed, confident rhythm where long distances feel shorter and time feels less demanding. The cabin remains whisper quiet even at higher speeds, and the engine hums gently in the background like a reassuring presence. I'm thinking if we're measuring luxury by how little effort it requires, then this might be one of the highest expressions of that idea. You don't feel the need to prove anything, you just arrive composed and refreshed. The Cullinan's off-road capability is something that feels almost ironic given how refined it is, yet it performs with confidence when the road ends. Rolls-Royce engineered this SUV to handle rough terrain without compromising comfort, which means gravel, sand and uneven paths are taken in stride. The car doesn't change character or attitude, it simply continues forward calmly, as if terrain is just another detail to be managed rather than an obstacle. It becomes clear they didn't want to build a rugged vehicle, they wanted to build a capable one that remains dignified in all environments. Every control surface inside the Cullinan has weight and texture that feels intentional. Buttons respond with a soft tactile click, knobs rotate smoothly, and nothing feels loose or cheap. I'm thinking this is what separates true luxury from expensive imitation, because attention here is paid to things you may not consciously notice but would immediately miss if they were wrong. It becomes an environment where everything simply feels right. Customization remains a core part of the Rolls-Royce experience, and the Cullinan 2025 offers endless possibilities to reflect individual taste. From unique exterior colors to bespoke interior materials, the car can be tailored to feel deeply personal. They're not selling a model, they're creating a relationship between owner and machine. If we're honest, this level of personalization transforms the Cullinan from a product into a statement of identity without ever becoming loud or excessive. Safety systems in the Cullinan operate quietly in the background, offering assistance without interference. Adaptive cruise control, lane support, night vision and collision prevention systems work together seamlessly. You don't feel monitored or corrected, you feel supported and protected. I'm realizing that Rolls-Royce understands safety not as a feature list but as a sense of trust that allows you to relax fully behind the wheel. The rear compartment deserves its own moment because it feels like a world separate from the front. Whether configured with individual seats or a more lounge-like layout, it offers a sense of privacy and exclusivity that few vehicles can match. The optional viewing suite and tailgate seating transform the Cullinan into a mobile retreat, perfect for moments when the journey pauses but the experience continues. It becomes clear they designed this SUV for people who appreciate moments as much as destinations. Fuel efficiency and environmental considerations are approached thoughtfully without compromising the character of the Cullinan. While it remains a powerful V12 luxury SUV, Rolls-Royce continues to refine efficiency and emissions within its philosophy. I'm thinking they're aware of the changing world, but they refuse to sacrifice the soul of the brand for trends. Instead, they focus on evolution that feels natural and respectful to their legacy. When you step out of the Cullinan after a long drive, there is a noticeable absence of fatigue. Your body feels relaxed, your mind feels clear, and there is a subtle sense of satisfaction that lingers. It's not excitement or adrenaline, it's something deeper, a feeling of having been cared for throughout the journey. If we're being honest, that might be the most valuable luxury of all in a world that constantly demands energy and attention. The Rolls-Royce Cullinan 2025 does not try to redefine what an SUV is because it doesn't need to. Instead, it elevates the idea of travel itself, turning every drive into an experience of calm authority and refined pleasure. It's a reminder that luxury at its highest level is not about excess but about understanding what truly matters. Comfort, silence, craftsmanship and emotional connection become the focus, and everything else fades into the background. I'm thinking if they asked what success feels like in motion, this might be the answer. The Cullinan doesn't rush, it doesn't compete, and it doesn't apologize for its presence. It exists with confidence, offering an experience that feels complete and intentional. If we're honest, this is not a car for everyone, and it was never meant to be. It's for those who understand that the ultimate luxury is not being noticed but being completely at ease wherever you go.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.